Guess what time it is? It is time for Fittest on Earth, the Redeemed and the Dominant. The last in the series that was at least created directly by CrossFit themselves. Hi, I'm Ben Garves. I am the host of the Ben Garves podcast, which officially restarted today. It was the Wadity podcast for, I guess, a year, 150 some episodes of a daily podcast that used to be oriented 100% toward CrossFit is now more about general fitness, general nutrition, and general activism. Today, I am wearing a shirt from somebody I'm incredibly proud of, and that is an Instagram page called Black Power Cleans. Now, Black Power Cleans was very active when all of this stuff first started to go down, talking about diversity in the sport of fitness. They immediately started creating workouts, hero workouts, inspired by some of these people of color who died at a very young age, way too early, whether it was George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, and started naming these workouts after these people who went through these horrible experiences, paid honor to their families, to their friends, to their culture, and I'm so proud of them. I was so excited when I found out that they were selling t-shirts that I went out and I immediately bought one, and it kind of kicked off this whole thing that I've been doing, where I've been buying t-shirts from these organizations and these gyms that have been doing fantastic work toward greater diversity in the community. So in the last couple of days, I wore one from Resistance Athletics in Portland, from Petworth Fitness in DC. Yesterday, I wore one from Resistance Athletics. Just some awesome gyms that are going out on their own and showing that fitness is, and you saw it in the intro video, fitness is for everyone. And when you don't make it readily accessible, especially to demographics that suffer disproportionately, it just becomes a completely different thing. I have the podcast episode that airs on Monday is about how poor housing standards creates a disparate level of heart health, how cardiovascular disease is much more prevalent in people who do not have reliable access to safe housing, whether it's chronic renters or people who live in project housing or are living with friends or living on the streets. They can't actively manage to go to doctor's appointments. They can't actively manage to have access to their prescription drugs. They don't have readily access to things like gyms and fitness. So I'm really pushing this over really for the next year, or really until the end of time, that fitness is for everyone, and that really needs to be our focus. So you didn't come here to hear me rant. You came here because today we're going to watch this movie. So if you haven't done a watch along before, this is the fourth one that we've done. We started on Wednesday. We watched Froning. On Thursday, we watched Fittest on Earth, the first of the Fittest on Earth series. Yesterday, we watched A Decade of Fitness, and we watched Katrin Davidsdottir win her second title. We watched Claire Toomey just watch it slip through her grasp, and it was completely heartbreaking. We know that today on the Redeemed and the Dominant, we're going to watch Claire Toomey win her first. We watched Mat Fraser win his first championship yesterday. We're going to watch him win his second today. We're going to watch all of the drama and the disservice that Ricky Garard did by taking a podium place away from Patrick Vellner when he tested positive for PEDs and he had to yield his third place spot, and all of the drama that came from that. Okay, so here's how these watch-alongs work. You queue it up. We all queue up our own versions. None of us are trying to break any copyright laws here. So if you don't have a copy of it, if you haven't bought it from Amazon or Netflix or YouTube, There is a link in the description for this live stream. You just zip down there, click it. I think it's $5 or $6 for you to rent it on Amazon. You rent it, and we all play the film at the same time. And then, me as somebody who's been active in the community, has been an active pundit, has been a journalist, and has been around these athletes, and in the as a trainer, I can provide a lot of insight, a lot of background, a lot of stories, a lot of anecdotes, and provide you some color commentary to make this more of a social event than just you sitting there and watching it all alone. Because we're together, we're apart, but we're together. So I've talked through this. I'm trying to buy you some time to get in there if you haven't bought it already, so you can buy it or rent it. And then we're gonna do this. So I have it pulled up in front of me. You're not gonna see it, but you'll hear me talking. Go ahead and put the big one. Put the movie on the TV. Don't put my dumb head on the TV. You want the movie up there. You want me on your phone or your laptop or iPad or whatever for that color commentary. Here we go. I am going to count down. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, and we are going to go on go. So 3, 2, 1, go, and then we go. Trust me, you don't want to mess this up, because if you mess it up, then you have to pause me, and you have to restart, and you have to go back, and then you're not watching it live, and whatever crazy stuff that's going to happen live, because what can I say? My dog and I here alone in this apartment in Brooklyn get crazy, and you don't want to miss that live TV, or maybe you do. It's not that good. Anyway, so 3, 2, 1, go. Don't mess it up. You want to play. If you're on Amazon and you just bought it, when you click that play button, it's going to spin its stupid little wheel for a little bit, so you're not going to get to jump right in. So you might want to play it and then pause it. The first thing that pops up is a dark red and blue, scary, spooky, smoky CrossFit sign, because smoking and CrossFit, like that ever went hand in hand. Anyway, fog machines. Fog machines make everything cooler. And then just pause it right there on that screen. You ready? I'm ready. I am pumped. I've seen this one once. I've watched all of the other ones so many times. They've been such an inspiration to me, but I watched this one, and Ricky Garard makes me feel so sick inside, like that whole situation. You stand up for a sport. You talk about the hard work that everybody puts in. So many people put in so much hard work, and then you defend yourself over and over and over again. People that see your hard work, but they say, that hard work wasn't hard enough. Clearly you're doing steroids, but you've worked your whole life to build this body and this lifestyle. And then Ricky Garard just takes that house of cards and flicks out the bottom one, and it tumbles down on all of us and makes us all look bad. So here I am. We're going to watch this. We're going to watch this together. Emotional support. That's what it's about. Emotional support. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go. We're doing this on go. You ready? Doesn't matter. I'm going to go anyway. So on go. 3, 2, 1, action. Oh, sorry. I told you I was going to say go. Doesn't matter. I played it anyway. This is happening. Drink of the day is a Spindrift and water. Grapefruit. The ever so reliable voice of Sean Woodland. Wow. I forgot this was the first year that they moved to the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. So you're watching Tia Claire Toomey enter the floor in the Coliseum, which seats way more than the tennis stadium did. But these athletes will tell you that they like the tennis stadium in Carson, California way better. Painful no rep. Painful no rep. My shoulders hurt just thinking about it. Cliffhanger right at the start, man. Right at the start. Who got redeemed? And who got dominant? Yeah, Tia Claire Toomey, man. Heartbreaking. I mean, I love Katrin Davidsdottir. I loved watching her win her second. But Tia, man, that was just hard to watch. Okay, just one quick setup selfie. You ready for this? If you watch these before, you know how much I don't I don't love Mat Fraser. I'll try not to talk too much crap. He could still beat me in a fight. There's those super painful handstand ring muscle ups, man. Oh, sorry, handstand ring, handstand ring handstand push ups. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. I did a lot of things today. My words don't form good. Ugh, Savan Matosian is a despicable human being that just spreads hatred. So much hatred. Just, and he's so skeevy, man. Like, there's a dude that just creeps me out. You want to talk? I'm wearing this black Power Clean shirt. You want to talk somebody who does not believe in equality? Whoa. It's kind of, yeah, the testing protocol is pretty nuts. So the the podium gets tested the instant they step off of that podium. The athletes all get tested when they show up to the games. So like 2019, they had 400, 500 athletes. Every single one of them got tested. They actually used the restrooms that were attached to the press rooms. So the press, weren't allowed to use the restrooms because they were marching all these athletes in to go pee in cups. Every single individual sanctional has their own testing protocol. There were a couple of athletes that were caught this year from tests that happened at sanctionals. And then they have randomized testing. When you start to participate, you get enrolled in random tests, and you every quarter have to report where you will be the entire quarter to CrossFit so they can drop in anytime, anywhere that you will be and test you. Please, I hope they don't show Savan that much in this. Gross. That dude, I don't know, touches children or something. 2019, 2020, Patrick Vellner climbing up the open. 2020, this should have been Patrick Vellner's year. I think Vellner got robbed by COVID-19. 'Savan, hardcore enabler of the sexism culture that was built by Greg Glassman. There are all these quotes from him just saying these super creepy things to female athletes on the CrossFit podcast. Just nuts that he, to this day, gets away with it. Toomey's looking fierce right there, man. 2017 was the year that Castro translated his diary into a book about programming the CrossFit Games. I think it is a valid argument that he is artful with the way that he lays these things out. You can say anything you want to about Dave Castro. I say a lot about Dave Castro, but it is masterful the way that he lays it out. Far out. Honestly, I thought media check-in was gonna be more dramatic than it was. It was like, your press? Okay, go upstairs. Here's a wristband. You see goggles. It's gonna be a swimming event. It's such a big change for them. The ocean swim, they were just getting hammered by waves, which is a completely different type of swimming than a lake swim. So I think all the athletes unanimously enjoy swimming in the lake versus swimming, but that lake, man, so much algae. I don't know. It's a whole thing. There are ups and downs. Ricky Garard, yeah, like when you've watched the movie and it eats at your soul every time they mention him. What you don't see is as they're entering the water, the press dock is off to the left, and there are so many people on the press dock that it's like tilting over and basically about to fall in the water. And I'm like laying there trying to take pictures, but also not let my $1,000+ camera get wet. Brent Fikowski always getting passed by women, which says just as much about the women as it does about the men. So Tia Toomey in 2019 beat all the men and all the women in the swim paddle event. This obviously a very different event because it was a swim and a run. 2017, completely different weather than they had the other years in Madison. That rain versus just not California heat, but as hot as it gets in Wisconsin summer heat. You're going to be okay, Patty. I'll never forget the first time that I met Ben Bergeron. He's trying to get into the Coliseum because he's obviously Katrin's coach. And the volunteer is like, I don't care who you are. I don't know who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm not letting you in. I was told nobody in except for coaches and athletes. And he's like, I'm Ben Bergeron. I have a coach's thing. And I'm like, he's Ben Bergeron. And he looks at me, he goes, thank you. I'm like, yeah, he's Ben Bergeron. Let him in. And she's like, I need to go talk to somebody. And she shut the door and left. And she never came back for him. Poor guy. They at least knew that there was going to be a biking event in advance, so they could train for it. People got pretty rough on the cyclocross. Oof. Brett Fikowski in a leader jersey just doesn't. I mean, I love the guy, but it just doesn't look right, does it? Ricky Garard sighting. Sad. And he wins this event, obviously. It's been so long since I've ridden a bike without clip-in shoes. It just looks weird to me to see pro athletes not using them. Metabolic enhancement helps you ride bikes. Ask one Lance Armstrong. Not to be confused with Neil Armstrong. Very different people. I don't think they showed it, but I think Patrick Vellner took a huge spill on this too. Ooh, Amanda. Rich Froning. This is just such a cool thing. Rich Froning mentoring other athletes like Sarah Sigmundsdottir. And now, obviously, you have Tia Claire Toomey and Mat Fraser training in Cookeville, Tennessee with Rich Froning. With Scott Panchik and China Cho and Tasia Persevich and just that whole crew. Ugh. Jason just goes so hard and then he like cannot get up and walk away when it's over. Because you're an idiot. So Ricky Garard and his brother Ben Garard both. Ben Garard had got popped for PED use, served out his penalty. I think it was 2 years or 4 years. It must have been two. And then this year got popped a second time. So we can only assume what's going to happen. I think Garard's hiatus is over next year. He could potentially compete again. He's obviously still fit. Big question. Does it come back? Does it get popped again? I'm curious. I'll sit back and watch. I'll judge. I'll judge the entire time because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for judging. But I'll totally watch it go down. Now, having a Coliseum event day one is pretty abnormal. Australia. Can't see it, not try to say it. Eye contact. I mean, Brent Fikowski in 2016. See how much gear she's toting around? I think there were 4 bags, 2 or 3 water bottles, blender bottle. No Jacob Hepner this year because Hepner couldn't survive the new handstand push-up standard in the open. Ignore me. My fridge is right here, and I may be going in for something. This is why you never put your desk within reaching distance of your fridge. So you see Vellner made it over that net just fine this round. In 2018, he goes up the net, comes over the other side, his foot gets hooked, and he drops and he falls from basically the top of it, and he lands on his side and he breaks his rib and bruises his lung, and then competes the entire rest of the CrossFit Games with that bruised lung and broken rib. He's like coughing up blood. Still 3 more days of competition. Watching them frantically stack rank and do the math on everything is just kind of nuts. It's not that they like competing naked, it's that you sweat a lot. Wearing clothing when you're sweating and you're moving that much is not helpful. So happy Sarah is. He's a Muhammad sighting. Just like one little taste of diversity. Patty Velly. Tennille Reed with the roll, man. That was pretty epic. See, I hate the idea of monkey bars because I know at 6'5", there's no way that I can do that without having to basically crunch my entire body through the whole thing. Okay, Tennille Reed Burline is enjoying the rolling just for the sake of rolling. I'm proud of you, Patrick. I have yet to do a fitness competition where a snatch was programmed, and I'm so sad about it. I got really excited one year when they programmed a clean and jerk. Like, wildly excited, but I wish they had programmed a snatch. You get 1 liter jersey. So poor Mat Fraser has to wear that leader jersey over and over and over again for 4 days and work out in it, and it's just gross. Yeah, did you work hard on your intake of illegal substances, Garard? Maybe a little bit? I thought that it was really cool the way that they approached the squat clean event in 2019. So when, like, right here in 2017, we're watching them do the snatch and everybody's kind of doing it and they take turns and they all have their own individual barbells. But it was really cool to watch with 10 athletes left after all the cuts. Say what you want to about the cuts, but with 10 athletes left after the cuts, to watch each individual athlete go out to a stand in the center of the Coliseum and have the intention of the entire crowd on you right there in that moment, and everything goes quiet and you hear the judge okay it and the beep signaling that they can lift, and they have, I think, 30 seconds to make their attempt, and you just watch with bated breath while they do it. And then obviously you have this really epic side-by-side taking turns competition between Fraser and Panchik right up to the very end. Just epic to watch. And it sucks that you have to go through cuts to get to do something like that, but very cool that because of the cuts, they were able to do it and they did do it. Yeah. Cara Webb just will literally work herself to death if she has to. And now she's doing it as a mom, which is like you have this whole new level of respect for the level of work that she's doing, that she has to put in over the course of the day as a mom, as a business owner, and as an athlete, and still stay competitive at the highest level in the sport, building back from a pregnancy. You have basically three main female athletes from Australia: Tia-Clair Toomey, Madeline Sturt, and Cara Webb Saunders. You never really think about it as a competition, right? You don't really think Patrick Vellner and Brent Fikowski as being competitors. Not in the way that you had like Scott Panchik and Rich Froning from the Midwest, and always competing against each other year after year. But it is still a competition to them, and they want to represent their countries. I think we're blessed that we get to watch a competition between Sigmundsdottir, Davidsdottir, and I'm missing a daughter. Davidsdottir, Sigmundsdottir, and Thorisdottir. Thank you. And Thorisdottir and Davidsdottir are such good friends. It's hard to picture that friendship while they're competing against each other, or like the Smith brothers, Alec and Ben, competing against each other, or the Anderson brothers, or there are other siblings. I'm just not coming up with them right now. You know the difference? Mat Fraser, 10 years of Olympic lifting before getting into CrossFit. Garard just shows up and he's good at it all of a sudden. That should have been a question to start with. He referred to Ben. He's talking about Ben Garard, his brother. Again, ineligible to compete because of sanctions from PED abuse. And then, of course, Garard gets popped after this. I love watching the athletes lock out up top and just look around like, yeah, this is me. I've done this. Oh, I can put it down? Okay. $10 kilo jump in 3 weeks. Hindsight's 2020, bro. Ouch. Nobody ever sees that Rich Froning also has a garage. He has a garage gym. He has CrossFit Mayhem, and he has a gym, same location, same house as his garage gym. He has this basement gym. It's like a hidden basement gym that apparently he doesn't even really use that much, but people visit and use it all the time. Athletes spend the majority of their off season working on accessories and strength because it really only takes 3 to 4 months to get to elite level metabolic conditioning. So the cardio and everything comes back relatively fast, but building up that strength and building up those skills like handstand push-ups, muscle ups, getting really, really good and reliable at things like the double unders and having an efficient burpee, especially like somebody my height, an efficient burpee, those things take a lifetime to build. The snatch, I mean, is a great example. But the metabolic conditioning really only takes a couple of months to build yourself back up to an elite level of fitness. Everything else is the problem. Watching them run that 100-pound dumbbell across the finish line is something you don't get to see very often, but there they are carrying it, right? Pistols. Nobody likes the pistols. Oh, this was like the dumbest event. I am not. This was a dumb event, and it was very easy for some people to cheat through it. There is no secret. Well, there's this whole thing about some athletes are trying to hook it and pull it with the hammer. It's so dumb. It's like when you see people talking about CrossFit that have never done it before and they show some guy hitting a giant tire with a hammer. That's not really what we do. Baby's first muscle up. Man, that was a huge personal victory for her. Yeah, he's creepy when he says that. Like, absolutely creepy when he says that. Ignore that. The dog is just saying hi to whoever. From 2011 to 2013, she had made it to the CrossFit Games. Didn't make it in 2014, made it back and won in 2015, and then again in 2016. It was kind of cool for the 2020 Open. Every time Annie did one of the workouts, and she was pregnant. Had she announced she was pregnant? I guess she hadn't announced she was pregnant at the time, but she did all of them side by side with Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Sigmundsdottir went on to win the Open, but it was just cool to watch these two incredible athletes doing this together. So you can see in the background there is Frederick Agidius, who they're partners, and he is the father of her child, and that baby is due, I think, next week. So first, short of Rich Froning, and all of Froning's kids are adopted, this is like CrossFit royalty to have Annie Thorisdottir and Frederick Agidius having a baby together. I'm pretty sure they talk about it in here that a couple of guys were pulling at the weight with their hammer, kind of got away with it. Um, Cheating, man. I mean, cheating, but also like they got away with it. You think about one of the sandbag events in 2015, 2014, 2015, and sometimes you just get away with it. I mean, you tax your system on that bike, and then you have to just repetitively get your whole body and your core and your back into this sledgehammer work. That smiley face is getting worn down. No, see, this is Noah Olsen kind of cheating. Yeah, you wonder why Fraser and Olsen don't really get along super well. I mean, on top of just Fraser not being the greatest. I mean, different kind of not the greatest. The Sam Briggs, there you go. There's somebody who just worked to the end. She just worked to finish it. No cheating, nothing. Run with the hammer, guys! There's something about the Icelandic athletes finishing carrying this hammer overhead. Very Thor-like. Canadians talking trash. You hear that? If you're trying to be good, the best athletes in the world don't train the fun things. Shocker. They train the hard things. The things nobody wants to do. That's frustrating. I mean, for sure frustrating. He's such a nerd. And then I mean that in the nicest way possible, because I'm a nerd. Different kind of nerd, though. Nerds. Accidental nerds. Prosper. Say it like a red. Prosper. See, Ben Garard and Ricky Garard both kind of. I mean, they are who they are, I guess. You can touch him. I'll tell you what. As press being that close to those athletes, you don't want to touch them. They're busy, man. They're working. Creeper. So Strongman Sphere in 2017, and then they convert it to do a team version, Team Strongman Sphere in 2019. So So it was kind of cool because you got to see it come back and then do it from this team perspective. I guess I handstand limp. I don't think that was a no rap in hindsight. The problem with the yoke is if you set the bar too low and you lift it too far off the ground, then it's super unstable. But if you put it too low, then you're kind of trying to support more weight to get it higher off the ground, and you're using different body parts, and you can drag and it can scrape and slow you down also. Brent Fikowski really struggled with handstand walks in 2019, and that was rough to watch, and I think that partially resulted in him getting cut. I mean, Fikowski almost hits him. Sprint! Fraser wanted it. He kind of laughs like Seth Rogen. Never really thought about that. Seth Rogen, not a great laugh. Ugh. There are people that do them, but I think some of the best athletes don't. Because you have to know how to work. That would be, yeah. You wouldn't know. I was talking about that yesterday. There's this whole thing on YouTube where Vellner goes around in Canada and asks people if they know who Patrick Vellner is. Nobody knows. And it's him asking, right? Yeah, and it's not really steroids, right? We're talking metabolic enhancing drugs. It's and that's because he was taking something that was not muscle building as much as recovery aiding. I have a suit. Looks like it, I guess. Which is most of us. Ricky Garard. That should be a drinking game for this one. Every time I go, Ricky Garard, do a shot. Silent head nod. Gotta love a clean, though. See? And, getting out of those muscle ups and composing yourself when you get to the bar to be like, okay, go, is, taking that moment to do that is rough. And if you get out of sync, out of your mojo, it just is that much more difficult to get back into it. That's why one fail is potentially the last lift that you make. You're gonna struggle through the rest of them if you fail one. Easy money for him, man. Event win, games win. Never again. Ta-da. All the high fives. Yep. And then complained and complained. Skating around them rules. 10 rounds. So 90 thrusters and 350 double unders. Going fast and cycling. I'm 6'6". I hate thrusters. They put 10 barbells out there for every athlete. Just keeping Rogue in business, I guess, at the time. Now COVID's keeping Rogue in business. Webb, which I want to call her Saunders now. Saunders has so many examples of emotional and mental mistakes over the course of her career, but she is such a talented athlete if she can just get that mental element together. Great work. That's just such a painful looking event to me. Ooh, this is where they have the, what was it, the Madison triplet? I don't remember what it's called, but basically they have these big, huge yellow sandbags to toss up on hay bales. Such a unique dynamic to their relationship as I mean they're engaged here, but as a married couple and also coach and athlete is so interesting. Go. Stop. You want to go on a date? I mean, that it must be such an awesome, you know, experience to have that level of emotional buy-in from your significant other for whatever it is that you set your mind to do. So I think the relationship is as much a credit to her for putting up with him as a coach as much as it is for him for having that level of emotional buy-in and support. You think about Mat Fraser and Sammy Moniz and the Feeding the Frasers Instagram account. She works full time on top of doing that for Matt. Everyone has their own way of supporting, whether it's emotional or physical. It's cool. It's cool to watch those dynamics play out. I'm willing to bet these athletes eat somewhere in the realm of 10,000 calories a day for this 5 day period. Brent Fikowski, he's always just working the strategic point, not just the point game, but everything from his speed, his tempo, the weights. It's every single part of it is strategic down to the intervals that he uses for every single rep. Yeah, this is that one. This is the cheese curd event. Grown into a badass. Don't mind me just, I guess I can't say icing. I'm corning my knee. Repetitive stress injury because I'm an idiot, and the only way for me to not go crazy during quarantine is to do fitnessy things. So this event is really where things start to solidify. I mean, Fraser has really solidified his place. Garard, for better or for worse, starts to solidify his place. And I'm pretty sure Fikowski takes second overall, so, you know, he's starting to try to stay in striking distance of Fraser, but when you go to Madison for the CrossFit Games, it's it's all that people can talk about. It is not a big city. The community, Easy Mohammed sighting. The community is so excited. They talk about CrossFit all the time. They're not even necessarily, even the people that aren't necessarily fit or involved are excited about it. And then they all want to tell you about the other two major events that they have in town. They have a Bratwurst Fest, and they have the annual meeting. It's like an annual dairy expo. And they're like, yep, it's us. It's the CrossFit Games. It's the Dairy Expo. And it's, the Brat Fest. And you're like, okay, we're definitely not in Kansas anymore. Or for me, it was like, I'm not in Texas anymore. Now it's like, I'm not in New York anymore. I remember getting into an Uber or a Lyft or whatever, and the driver had just dropped shoot an American athlete, New Yorker, off, and was just talking about how she was just like, oh, we don't like Madison, we want to go back to California. It's like, why would you tell an Uber driver that in Madison, Wisconsin? This was Webb's year. I mean, again, if she fixed some of the mental mistakes that she made over the course, she would have had a completely different season, or at least finish to the season. Super juiced, super rookie, Ricky Garard. And then everybody breaks out in rashes from the hay. Couldn't look at his brother. His brother got popped. Twice. So uncomfortable to watch. Okay, so 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. Yeah, so he's back next year. His girlfriend later announces on Twitter that she gave him a tainted supplement. See, this is, I mean, you see the athletes finding out from CrossFit. The process of CrossFit telling people about these things was so different back then. See, and that's the thing is like it would be one thing if it was something that wasn't very specific to the sport. Like it's one thing to take like an actual like strength builder, muscle builder, like an actual uh, metabolite of testosterone, but it's a completely different thing to take something like Endurabol, which literally builds metabolic endurance, which is exactly what we are testing in the sport of fitness. That's not something you just find randomly in a supplement. Pretty sure it was tested on horses and caused cancer and was it's not a yeah, whatever. Go to Wadity.com and search for Ricky Garard. There's a guide to steroids that breaks down the whole thing. It is good that he was caught, but it just is such a mar on the sport, you know? We talked about this yesterday, how Toomey didn't like the way that she came across in the Fittest on Earth, a decade of fitness documentary, and just changed her approach and her outward appearance to people because she just didn't like the way that it made her look. Just really tuned in her emotional and mental game. It just shows so much maturity growth over the course of that year that led up to this documentary. The man bun. Is this Con Porter? Easy Muhammad. Josh Bridges. Barely taller than everybody else. Gummy bears are like when you go to jail, not that I've been, everyone makes jokes about trading cigarettes as currency. Gummy bears at the CrossFit Games, that's a currency. All the athletes going nuts for gummy bears. Prosper. It's Prosper. Prosper. It's cool that she's learning it, though. You see the A on her shoes, celebrating Alma, her grandmother that died before the 2016 CrossFit Games. When Ben Bergeron tells you to just go, you just go. You trust that guy. I would argue greatest coach in the sport. Also, competed on a team and got banned due to a substance. So he had a 2-year ban and just never competed again after that. I feel like ropes were such more heavily featured in previous games, but this is what the first rope event so far in the 2017 games. War of the Daughters. Noah Olsen, not known for being a strategic pacer, showed up in 2019 way better about it. But he kind of had that problem earlier on in his career. This is a question that I've always had my entire life. Where do you look when you're drinking? Do you look at the person that's awkwardly sitting across the table from you? In my case, do you look at the camera? Do I watch the TV? Do I stare at the microphone? Do I just go cross-eyed, stare at the bottom of the bottle? I don't know. Well, now I'm thirsty again. There you go. Pacing fail. That's a scar he's going to have for the rest of his life. I have a rope burn scar like an idiot. Mat Fraser seals the deal. It's unfortunate there was no documentary in 2018 because 2018 was like his truly dominant experience where he just didn't just win, but like he had basically sealed up a win by the end of the second day, and it was that you know that CrossFit has that footage out there. It would be cool for somebody to tell that story, because for as cool of an experience as Froning's for Pete was, or no, it's awkward. That's tough. That Yeah, it is out of your control. I As an athlete, it's like, what do you make? Do you It was clearly like it wasn't malicious, obviously. There are flaws for sure. They do the best they can with what they have, and people make mistakes. There's The only thing you can do is try to be fair about how you handle it. And you watch that go down with penalties on the sprint event in 2019. It was hard to watch, and people got cut as a result. I mean, Vellner and Brooke Wells. It was tough to watch, but it just was what it was. 6 points from first. So close. And dumbbell deadlifts are there. I don't think there is somebody that is fantastic at dumbbell deadlifts. I don't think there's anybody who feels like they're not awkward doing them, because you have to go so much further down in your deadlift, and then it just throws you off. Practice it all you can, but I mean, look, let's be honest. Those of us that don't have access to a barbell right now, we're doing a lot of dumbbell creativity. I've done a lot more dumbbell deadlifts in the last 6 months than I have my entire life. 210 points from first. See, at that point, two women had won two back to back, um, but only Froning had won multiple on the men's side. You think about the total count of champions over the last 9 years in the CrossFit Games. Froning, Smith, Fraser. On the women's side, you have, let me see if I can get this right, Thorisdottir, Briggs, LeBlanc-Bazinet, Davidsdottir, Toomey. So, huge difference between the men's side and the women's side. And you know he doesn't stop. He just says, I could win this. I guess I'll win this. Doesn't need the points. He could just not do anything. But he does the work. I'm curious to see if he's any slower with the chest tattoo now. Fraser's parents, not a lot of people know this, were partners on the United States Olympic ice skating team. So they competed together for years and they were Olympians. It must be a whole different lifestyle to grow up in an Olympic household. Different level of standard for excellence and mindset and approach to everything that you do. Toomey just goes. Having to put the weights down for Webb, that's just rough. So close, you're literally, oh, no rep. Locking up the finish line. Go. I mean, one of the most dramatic finishes to the CrossFit Games ever, I would argue. With the gravity of the results, you know. You spend your entire year training for those 5 days. It's kind of, like it's kind of like the Olympics, but in the Olympics you spend 4 years training for that moment, right? Kind of a jerk move that he pulls both of them up and messes with them like this. Most earned ugly cry in the history of sports. An army of cameras, right? Just a swarm. Well, there were four right there in that shot, not counting the one that took the shot. Emotional buy-in, just mind-blowing to me. The documentaries paint this as such an epic event, and in a lot of ways it is, right? It's such a huge, deeply emotional, moving thing. But when it's over, it's still 80 athletes on a floor eating pizza and drinking beer while they give out awards. When the crowd leaves and everyone just gets into an Uber, goes back to a hotel, packs an insane amount of free clothing into suitcases, and flies home. Injuries, Sarah, sorry. Bad news about 2018. That's a good human being right there. That's rough. Vellner says congratulations to Garard, who puts on a bronze third place jersey. Vellner's in fourth. Because of cheating, Garard gets bumped. He robbed Vellner of the experience of standing on that podium. Took home the medal. Gutted. And obviously Vellner, because he's such a great guy, is a good sport about it, but it just has to hurt, you know? Yeah. It defaces the whole sport, not just Garard's reputation. But that the name Garard in itself is such a almost embarrassing name to have at this point. To be Ben Garard or Ricky Garard with three sanctions among them. And short of Fraser, it was the first year that there was only one American on the podium. You had two Canadians, two Australians, two Icelanders, three Australians, one Icelander. I can't count. We know this about me already. I mean, and she had a rough year in 2015, having to drop out because of Murph, repetitive heat injury. Olympian. Don't forget, she was at the Olympics the same year. You're dangerous. You're a creeper, Savan. Blech. In some ways, 2018 was so boring because of Fraser. See Marson creeping up there with some credit there. Let me just turn this down so I can hear myself think. Okay, friends. Thank you for, stripped of third medal, Rookie of the Year award. Additionally, Garard was banned for 4 years. Again, that is up in 2021. Ooh, that's going to be dramatic. So, we are skipping 2018 because there was no documentary made. Tomorrow we will be back 7 p.m. Eastern for the watch-along party of The Fittest, which I have not watched before. I've watched, Fittest in Dubai that came out, but life got a little bit crazy for me with the move to New York around the same time that The Fittest came out, and obviously quarantine. But don't forget, fitness is for everyone. The Ben Garves podcast is back, and you can watch that on YouTube. You can also stream that wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow. The Fittest, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in. So excited to be here. So excited to be back. Stay fitty? Stay fitnessy, y'all. Sure. Thank you for watching. I'm Ben Garves for Waddity and the Ben Garves podcast. Have a great evening.